Welcome to Broncos Training Camp 2022 with Steve Atwater. Here's your host, Alexis Perry.
A cloudy day could not keep Broncos country away for the second of 14 training camp practices over the next 2 weeks right here at the UC Health Training Center. This Denver Broncos team is thrilled to take the field here yet again in front of all of these adoring fans. Punter Sam Martin, he enjoys some one-on-one time with the fans, playing a little catch there. And head coach Nathaniel Hackett working one-on-one with Russell Wilson. Thanks so much for joining us here for Broncos Training Camp with Steve Atwater. I'm Alexis Perry, joined by my good friend and, of course, NFL Network correspondent James Palmer. James, I know this has to have been a crazy 6 months for you as a correspondent living right here in Denver. How has your job changed since all these changes were made here in Denver?
Alexis, it's killing my miles, my frequent flyer miles, my hotel nights. I'm trying to save up for a night in Europe, and it's not happening. This is taking me back to when Peyton Manning was here and I was working at NFL Network. It was like I was essentially a beat reporter again. It has changed everything in terms of the perception of how we're going to look at the Broncos from a national perspective. The amount of attention at NFL Network we're giving the Broncos. To let you in on that a little bit, Saturday is Back Together Saturday. NFL Network's at every single team in the NFL. One of the main sites we have is going to be right here with the Denver Broncos, with me, Brian Baldinger, Colleen Wolfe. We're all going to be here sitting down with Nathaniel Hackett, Russell Wilson. That's kind of the expectation that NFL Network has for the Broncos. So obviously you guys are going to be seeing a little more of me, I think, than the last couple of years.
We love that. You know, you were out here day one of practice. What were your initial impressions of this Coach Hackett, Russell Wilson era that's finally underway?
Well, music's back. That's the first one that everybody always likes to bring up, that there's some music back here with Nathaniel Hackett. But it was the same as every other camp I go to in terms of kind of the way that music was used. But at the same time, it was a pace that I saw. It's not similar to every single stop you see at some places, but they were extremely efficient, I think, for a first-year head coach to go through the first day the way he went, as quickly as they got in and out of periods, as quickly as they went through their periods with reps. Some guys go up pace like crazy. Andy Reid's known for it in Kansas City. Those training camp practices are at a ridiculous pace, and it's rep. The biggest thing that I've been told by players is, and we saw it, is there's never any downtime for anyone, specifically something like special teams periods where quarterbacks are just kind of off to the side hanging out at a lot of teams. That's not happening here. There's always something to do that Hackett wants you to do. So every player's doing something all the time. There's not really those down periods when your position group isn't working. That's a difference that I saw.
Well, just like yesterday, this will be a 2-hour light practice here for the Denver Broncos. That means they're in padded shorts, and helmets. You know, I know the fans would love to see this team going full speed, full pads, but what are some of the ways that we could still see this team grow even if they're not going full speed?
Well, the first one is if a period doesn't stop down. Nobody did anything that was egregious enough to go, we got to stop. Let's figure this out. Because, again, we know this is the third time they're getting this installed. So they already have installed this playbook twice. But at the same time, there's still a lot to learn. Hackett's throwing everything he can at them in these first 2 weeks. That's the way this system works with the West Coast system. So if it's efficient, everybody's exactly where they need to be. The timing in the passing game's down. You know, we're not seeing those instances where coaches have to come in and go, no, you have to be here. Make sure we set this. That type of efficiency knows that everybody's kind of on the same page. That's what you need to get down before we get to the physical aspect of it. So if things are going as quickly as they went yesterday, things are going right because everybody's doing essentially their job correctly in a sense.
You mentioned the timing. Of course, Russell Wilson, he's been working on that timing with his wide receivers since practically the moment he was traded to this team. So how have you seen this receiving core really grow over the last 6 months or so?
Well, a big part of it, Alexis, is because of Russ. And Julian Edelman has said this, who I think we're all aware has never played football with Russell Wilson in his life, but they've worked out together in the past in the offseason. And he said of all the guys he's thrown with, and he throws with a lot of guys during his NFL career, nobody figures you out as a receiver quicker than Russell Wilson, which I thought was an amazing kind of like tidbit of information about how Russ works with these guys. He said he figures you out so quickly about your tendencies, your strengths, how you run routes, and then you can start building that chemistry and timing extremely quickly. When you go to California like he did with these guys and you don't just throw, you're doing red zone, you're doing up tempo, I mean, you're literally running practices. You grow by leaps and bounds in that sense. That's why I thought Courtland Sutton's, at the barbecue phrase of we're stealing reps is a great way to put it, because they're getting practice training camp reps when they're on their own, and that's because that's the way Russ works, and that's because of the way they ran these throwing sessions, because they were much more than that. So I think it makes this group have a lot more confidence, which is extremely important. Somebody like Jerry Jeudy coming off of a year where he doesn't have a touchdown catch, everybody's kind of wondering, look at all these receivers that were picked after you, man, a couple of years ago. We need to see that production. I think you're seeing a more confident player like that. Russell Wilson brings that out, and confidence is so important to a receiver.
Well, some of the other pass catchers that he's been working with, of course, the tight ends. All eyes are really on Albert Okwuegbunam right now, especially with Greg Dulcich out nursing that hamstring injury that he suffered during OTAs. So what are some of the things that Albert O should really be prioritizing here during training camp, given the fact that we're all watching number 85?
Yeah, we are, because the tight end spot can be really, really important in this offense. I mean, go look at George. I'm not saying he's George Kittle. Let's pump the brakes here, but
we're pumping
it's a similar type of scheme. You remember Owen Daniels in the Gary Kubiak type of scheme, what he did down in Houston and ended in Denver with it. You're going to have a lot of opportunities where there are focal points off of the run, off of the play action game where you're running free. And you need to make sure that your timing is down with Russell Wilson, mainly because oftentimes you're not the first target in a lot of these. So your timing, if you're the second, third, or fourth progression, is extremely important as Russ goes through those. I think the other part of it really is, with Noah Fant, I'm not sure how willing of a blocker he was. Albert needs to show this coaching staff to get more snaps, to be in formations that feature him more. I can block and I can run routes, because that helps the entire offense. If you're just a tight end that runs routes and you're out there, they're not going to, respect the run sometimes as much as they would like to. So he needs to show both aspects of his game heading into year 3. Tight end, center, some of those positions are tougher. There's multiple positions you're playing at the same time. I think he has a tremendous opportunity right now.
I actually had the opportunity to have a brief conversation with Albert O as he came out onto the field about his timing with Russell Wilson. So let's take a listen to that. Albert, generally speaking, year 3 is the year that NFL tight ends really start to hit their stride. So what are some personal goals that you've had set for yourself this year?
Honestly, obviously winning the Super Bowl is at the front. Other than that, I don't really believe in setting, catches, yards, anything like that, because, that's kind of out of your control. Really, I'm just focused on maximizing opportunities and being really efficient with opportunities I do get in the pass game and in the run game as well.
How's your timing with Russell Wilson coming along?
It's going great. Definitely come a long way since spring, just learning, the timing of everything, the way he likes certain things, and just getting that chemistry, that gel. It's been really good.
We see Greg Dulcich, he's working on the side. What are your initial impressions of just those skill sets that he brings to this tight ends room?
Yeah, no, he's going to be an awesome tight end. He's learned the offense really well, asking a lot of questions, hard worker. I expect a lot of good things out of him.
Light practice day for you guys here today. What makes a successful practice when you guys aren't in full pads?
Really just attention to small detail. Make sure your steps are perfect, making sure everybody's competing, and just being mentally perfect.
Well, have fun out there today.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Looking forward to seeing how Albert Okwuegbunam goes about earning the trust of this staff and Russell Wilson in the days and weeks to come. Unfortunately, someone who won't be able to do that, no thanks to a nagging back injury, is offensive lineman Tom Compton. Coach Hackett said yesterday that he has been added to the physically unable to perform list after undergoing a surgery in hopes of finding a little relief. He now joins Randy Gregory, Billy Turner, and KJ Hamler on the PUP list. JP, any final thoughts before we send it up to the true stars of this show?
Yeah, I'm just filling some time here to get up to Steve. I know. So I'll say in day 2, I just want to make sure that the offense is giving this defense a couple of challenges in the red zone. They've had their spots, and early in camp, usually the defense is ahead of the offense, specifically in this case because they're running essentially what they've been running, and this is one of the better units in football. But I want to see these receivers and these DBs get a little chippy with each other in some of these red zone periods. Didn't really happen yesterday. I'd like to see that happen today, get that competitiveness going. Since the pads aren't on, those are the ones that you kind of want to watch.
Okay, quick question before I let you go. What the fans really want to know, is it gel or pomade?
Oh, it's pomade.
I knew it.
Come on now, it's a pomade.
Well, I know that you have some TV to do, so I will let you go. And now I am so excited to be able to bring in our next guest here on the show, a true legend here in Broncos country after joining the team in 1994 as an undrafted free agent. Known as one of the hardest working players in team history, wide receiver Rod Smith grinded his way into a starting role just in time to help this team hoist its first Lombardi trophy, recording nearly 1,200 yards receiving throughout that 1997 season. The The following year, during Super Bowl 33, Smith finished with 5 receptions for 152 yards and a touchdown, and one of the most iconic games of his career. He still holds the record for the most career receptions with 849 and was inducted into the Broncos Ring of Fame in 2012, his first year of eligibility. A couple of GOATs on the stage today. Here is Steve Atwater and Rod Smith.
Thanks so much, Alexis. Man, I'm looking at those highlights. I get fired up every time I see those. You got us a couple of Super Bowls with that, man.
Yeah, I love it, love it, love it, love it. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for having me on.
Welcome to the show, man. And, you know, looking at those brings back so many memories. Yes. And then we got the honor to sit here and watch these guys do it here and try to get to that level. It's been a lot of excitement going. What do you think about a lot of the changes that have happened over the offseason?
Man, they changed from top to bottom, and honestly, it's for me, you know, because of course I love the Bolin family, but I understand from a business standpoint what they did, and some of the changes we've made. I have to give our GM just hats off, man. He has made some moves from not just coach, but bringing in Russ and all the other players and position people that are in this organization to turn this ship around. We're establishing a new culture that's based off the old culture, and we're looking forward to it being great.
Yeah, and all of our watchers, viewers out there, fans, now as we go through the day, there won't be widescreen shots for you, so you won't see all of the play. You'll see players and you'll see small pictures, but we can't show you the whole play. We can't show you the formations. Guess what? Because the Raiders are watching, the Chiefs are watching.
all of them hired somebody
all
to stare
the Chargers.
at the Yeah,
that's right. So
some of them are probably sitting on these grass right here while you're joking. Hey, man, the NFL is ultra competitive, and our job is at least to kind of break down some of the stuff, guys, you miss, and to make it where you can visualize what's going on. Because this is the time of year when you start building a winning team. You don't build a winning team during the season. You build it. They've been working in the offseason, guys. They've been doing a lot of hard work. And we got a few guys with some injuries and hope to get them back. And we want to be full strength when season starts.
Yeah. All right. Obviously, the biggest, well, Coach Hackett, his news was extremely big as well. But bringing in Russell Wilson, 9-time Pro Bowler, new offensive coordinator, we see right there on the field. But I was going to say about Russell Wilson, he's a guy who, 9-time Pro Bowler, you see him on the field right there. In your opinion, what does he bring? What does he bring to the table in addition to, you know, deep passes, experience, leadership?
But honestly, that's what we need. When you got to remember the massive change we've had, you need a veteran. You need somebody who's been through the fold. You need somebody who's been in some big games. He's won a Super Bowl, unfortunately, against us, and he's lost one.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? So you've got the guy who's been at the top in the NFL as you can get, not only just individually, but as a group, and you want that guy leading the charge. And I think it was an excellent move. I don't know how they pulled it off, but I'm so glad they pulled it off because we really need him right now because we got a young core group of guys that can learn from him. Already they've learned so much. Just my conversations with him has changed from what it was last year.
Yeah, and, you know, having Coach Hackett, who everybody talks about the energy, but I don't think many people know how organized he is and how great of a communicator he is. And I think we had those things back when Coach Shanahan was here. He was super organized. He communicated greatly. He kept us in the loop with what's going on. What needs to happen for this relationship to be to maximize the potential of this team? You
know what it is? The first thing that always comes to my mind when you have a shift in leadership, you got a shift in that voice. You know, some of these guys played under the old regime, and you got a brand new regime right now. The first thing to me is trust.
Yeah.
The faster they can develop trust, like Coach, like you said, Coach, he comes off that Coach Shanahan tree. So these guys are super organized, all the way from Kyle and all those guys who are in the league right now doing very well. They come out of that tree. They're very organized. Everybody knows where everybody's going to be. You know what time you're supposed to be there. You know what time is going to end. And it's going to end on time, what they say. But you're going to get that work in. And I think once these guys trust him and know that coach is doing everything he can to put them in the best position, they're going to get to go out there and not have to think so much and go play ball and do what they love to do. I think, like our offensive coordinator, he's got to be like a kid in the candy shop because he got so many toys, so many weapons that he can use, and he can be creative, and he can put his stamp on this organization.
Yeah, Justin Otten, it'd be interesting to see who will be actually calling the plays. I would imagine it'd be Hackett just the way that he is. He'll probably be the one calling plays, but offense coordinator Justin Otten will play a big part in making sure everybody knows what they're doing, and he'll spend the most time with those guys. So it's going to be fun. I know Broncos country is super excited out there, and we got a lot of talent on this team. Now, in addition to Russell Wilson, you're on the other side of the ball. You're the receiver. You're the person on the receiving end of that.
Yeah.
And for me, as a defensive player, when I went out on the field, it was basically all on me.
Yep.
Well, team obviously, but in terms of my production as a receiver, you had to depend on the quarterback. And I always wondered, did you have to have a great relationship with your quarterback for him to throw you the ball, or if you were open, he's going to throw it to you anyway?
You know what, honestly, no, you need to have a great relationship with him. I actually, I was blessed yesterday with a moment with Jerry Jeudy. After practice, he came up, and I got to talk to him. He asked me, hey, did you have any, routines? I said, one thing you do, man, is always after every play, were you in position to make a play? I said, when you play with elite quarterbacks, they're going to see that, and they're going to find it. See, sometimes you're primary on a play, sometimes you're not. What are you working on when you're not primary? And I said, he's been, unfortunately, I think the scheme didn't help him and his talents last year, but these guys here are going to use every amount of talent he has to get that guy to football, as long as with Tim Patrick and all these other guys we got a great running game, and I just think it's going to be great for him to be able to, he knows that he can do what he needs to do, and that ball is going to be there.
All right, as a wide receiver, who do you want to impress in a camp? Just take the younger guys who are here, and the guys who first year here. Who do they want to impress in training camp?
You know what? To me, this is what it was. The one I want to impress is my teammates. Mm-hmm. So you got to get buy-in from them. I remember, I still remember that time you hit me in practice. I told you, if you ever do that again.
I didn't hit you, Rod.
Yeah, you did.
You're too fast for me to hit you.
Yeah, no, that's not true. But the one thing you want to do, guys, you got to earn the respect of your teammates first. Mm-hmm. These are the guys you literally going to work with every day. They're in the meeting room with you. You want to let them see and impress your teammates. Because if you can impress your teammates, that to me is a good thing. That means not only are the quarterbacks, but the defensive guys are looking at these receivers, and they know who deserves to be on the team as well. So the offensive guys are looking at these young corners. They're looking at these linebackers. They're like, man, hey, coach, we got to make sure we got this guy. You know what I'm saying? But that's first, because the coach is looking at everybody.
Yeah.
And if you can impress your teammates, trust me, I believe your coaches will be impressed as well.
Now, did you feel that way your first year in the league? Because some guys, a first rounder comes in. I think he may have a little bit different perspective than a guy than who's a free agent. Was it more pressure on you? Did you feel as coming as a free agent versus as a guy who was a first, second round receiver?
It's very stressful as an undrafted guy because no one gave you. They didn't invest in you up front, so to speak. They didn't put a pick. They didn't give you a bunch of money. They give you a little bit of money. But the thing is, you got to go out there and work extremely hard to show them why they even gave you a chance to be on the team. For me, being an undrafted receiver, and there was 12 other receivers, and most of these guys were high-paid guys and this, and that. My job was to figure out, how can I stay on this football team? How can I'm on every special team. Mm-hmm. I was a quarterback growing up. Most people don't know that I was a quarterback growing up, so I wasn't used to tackling people.
Right.
But in order for me to make this football team, I got to run down that gunner. I got to play on kickoff team. I got to do any and everything I can to show them I know how to play football, not just necessarily receiver.
Yeah, and you told me that before, that you were a football player, not just a receiver.
Player. Absolutely. when you undrafted, you think you got a position? No, your position is football. What do y'all need somebody? Do y'all need to be the jammer on against the gunners? I didn't never play defense, but I know how to stop this guy from getting down the field, right? So you do whatever you got to do. I'm back on kickoff return. I was punt return. I did any and everything. And here's the thing. When I think the guys on the team saw me trying to play every position, they were impressed that this guy's willing to go and do whatever. And, of course, I stayed the whole first year on the practice squad, but I needed that year, too, as well.
Yeah, you made us better.
Yeah, hey, you know what? I kept cleats on my feet. That's the key. Keep cleats on your feet.
That's right. Now, wide receivers and tight ends, there are a lot of similarities between the two. Obviously, tight ends block a little bit more. But what can wide receivers learn from tight ends, and what can tight ends learn from receivers?
Man, you say that because, I played one of the greats, Shannon.
Yes.
Man, with playing with Shannon, man, I learned so much from Shannon because it was always about position. It was always about body position. And that's why I gave Jerry that nugget yesterday. I said, you always got to be in position. It's like basketball. You got to give yourself position to be able to receive the ball. And when you got an elite quarterback, they'll find that window and they'll get that ball to you. But I used to watch Shannon and how he ran his routes and the little head nods. Sharp had the little head. He's called the dead leg. He hit him with the dead leg. And those types of things, I would learn them from him because, remember, he was always usually down in a three-point stance. So watching him come out of those routes and getting off the ball was one of the things I learned so much from Shannon.
Yeah, we saw a list of the tight ends there. We see Greg Dolch's.
Yeah, hey, he got the right number, man. Hey, Greg, I left something in the number, man. I'm telling you. Every guy that came through here, I left a little something in there.
Yes. Oh, man. Well, I'm hoping that who would you say is the receiver that Greg Dolch's could learn something from, as a tight end?
You know what? I think because he's a rookie, here's my thing. I wouldn't worry about learning from a receiver. He's got to focus on his position right now. Like as a tight end, as a rookie tight end in this team with this scheme, he's gonna have a lot thrown at him. He's got to know defensive fronts as well. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't spend no time worried about that part. I literally wouldn't spend too much time worrying about the catching the football part because he can catch the football, he wouldn't be here. But I would worry about the blocking scheme. These are the things that can keep him on the team. Can you block? Can you get in position for these running backs to cut back off of you? It's a crash course, guys, and I'm telling everybody here, this is one of the hardest classes you'll ever have is playing any professional sport. But football is so different because it's 11 guys, got to be in sync.
Yeah, you mentioned that blocking. Have you seen tight ends that don't want to block?
None of them want to block. Talk about, hey, Sharp didn't want to block, but if he wanted to be on the field, if he wanted to get a catch, he better block. He knew Coach Shanahan.
Yeah,
the late, great, our amazing guy, Alex Gibbs.
Yes.
Oh, if you in that running game and you're not blocking, Alex is ripping everybody apart. I remember Alex ripping John Elway. This is how great Alex was at the run game. John Elway had to hand the ball off to TD, and he's got a fake. And John gave a little half fake.
Oh, no.
Oh, Alex ripped John up like he was a rookie, man. Ooh. Everybody was like, I said, if he could do it to him, the rest of us are not exempt. So.
Yeah, well, yes, our first draft pick of this year, Nick Benito, outside linebacker. Wondering how much time he'll see. I guess a lot of that's going to be dependent on Randy Gregory and Bradley Chubb, but even if those guys are healthy, I think at this position, at the edge position, guys are going to contribute a lot anyway.
Absolutely. And this is time for that young man to do what got him here. See, he did a lot of things in college, obviously, to get him here, right? Yeah. And so now you don't get in awe anymore. It's just football. It's back to playing football, different jerseys right now. And I think he's going to do well because, for one, he'll get a chance to they'll weave him in the right way at the right time, and then he can take off and go do what he's done. For all these years up to now, a lot of times the guys get in all the NFL, and you should because it's the highest on the planet at what you do. And I think these guys can. I think the college game has changed so much that these guys can advance a little bit faster.
Yeah. Well, Bradley Chubb coming off, good season. He still didn't have to have a surgery this offseason. First time he's going to, go into the season just having a full offseason to where he could just get stronger and stronger. What do you see as his potential, and how much should the younger guys look to him for leadership?
Honestly, he's a Pro Bowl. He's a Pro Bowl player. He definitely been injured since he's been in the league. He's actually done well. When he's on the field, he actually wreaks havoc.
Yes.
And the thing is, we got to make sure he can stay healthy. For him right now, I think he needs to lead by example. More action, less talk. And he's not. I don't think he's a big talker.
Yeah, he's not a big talker.
He's not a big talker. He's more about action anyway. The thing is he needs to make sure he does any and everything he can do off the field to make sure he stays on the field. And a lot of times guys don't realize that, guys, the extra ice tub, the massages, those types of things, I'm not going out. I'm not doing anything. I'm giving this next 9.5, 10 months, I'm giving these guys, these other probably 70, 80 guys, I'm giving these guys all my time and attention. And I think the young guys will learn from that example as a fact.
Yeah, and Baron Browning, you know, he played inside linebacker last year at Ohio State. He did play outside linebacker and inside linebacker. So I'm anxious.
You went to Ohio State, man.
I'm sorry?
That's NFLB, man. Ohio State,
Right.
Ohio State, Alabama, that's NFLB. He literally already prepared for the league. He just got a different uniform on. We look for him. He's going to get a chance to do some stuff.
That's right. That's right. We got Chris Allen on the team as edge rush.
Malik Reed, Mike, I'm telling you, Malik, man.
Malik's always in the mix.
Dude, I'm telling you, that dude, every time he got on the field, he found a way to make a play.
Yeah.
But I love that hunger. That's how you in the league. You don't hope a guy gets hurt, but if a guy gets hurt and you get to step up, it happened to me. Somebody goes down and you get a chance.
You better be ready.
You better be ready. The NFL don't give you second chances, so you got to take advantage of every opportunity you get.
So, all right, you talking about these linebackers. Did you like blocking linebackers?
Absolutely not. But here's one thing. I knew how to get in the way and molest them enough where they couldn't make the tackle. If I saw TD's jersey, I did my job. If I saw his number, that means he's past
That's
me.
right.
I'm
That's
good.
right.
And then plus, I don't know if you can even cut block anybody anymore nowadays, but we can fight with him up top, and then you can throw at him, at waist high, and that makes him jump back. So by that time, the running back should be gone.
Yeah, DBs, none of them want you on their knees.
No, they hate that. I'll tell you, Rodney Harrison used to hate when I used to cut him, man. Rodney Harrison would hit you late, hit you upside the head after plays. You might get 15-yard penalty off Rodney Harrison if you try to cut him. So.
Yeah. See the fans out on the berm here. Bradley Chubb jerseys, the orange and blue all over the hill here.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be great this weekend.
Yeah.
I saw a bunch of Atwater jerseys. They still got some 58s out there. They still love some 88s.
There we go, DT.
I love them 88s out there.
Got the Russell Wilsons.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, no, it's great, man. I can tell you right now, this weekend is going to be great. The NFL Network doing some great stuff, going to all the camps. That stuff is going to be awesome. They didn't have this kind of stuff when we played, but we was up in Greeley, and guys, we had it packed up in Greeley, and it was isolated. It was all of our brothers was isolated in the dorms, and I think that made us closer. You know what I'm saying?
I believe that as well.
I remember at one point they was thinking about going back to Greeley. I'm like, I wouldn't. That to me, I think would have been a good move because you get to isolate the guys and they're just with themselves, and they don't have to worry about all the stuff at home. You ain't got to worry about all these phone calls and different, especially the distractions these guys got now are just so different. They go to Pro Bowler right there.
Yeah, Justice Simmons.
Yeah, man, this guy, man, he's one of those leaders that he played the way you play. He doesn't do a whole lot of talking, but that sucker go out there and flat out play some football, man. I've done some events with him as well, him and his wife, man.
Yeah.
Amazing for the community. Just a great person. Just everything he does, man, is just first class.
Yeah, he's a first class guy. Rod, I asked this question to Dave Logan. Did you prefer deep passes or intermediate to short pass?
Come on, man. Deep. Get off the field. Let's get the deep one. Let's get it out of the way.
And John, you had a quarterback who could throw the deep ball.
Exactly. But you know one thing I really, really like, because of the way we played in this offense, it'll really help Tim Patrick, Jerry, Cortland, Hamler, all the receivers and the tight ends and the running backs. Because this is such a systematic offense, you get all those. You get the short ones, you get the intermediates, and you get the play action over the top when you got a good running game. And that's what I'm really looking forward to this year, is our establishing running game where we'll run 4 or 5 times in a row and dare you to stop it. See, we had that type of mentality, and I believe we can develop that with this group.
And Justin Simmons, we just saw on the screen a second ago, he's going to be happy when you guys do that because he's going to intercept some passes too.
Yeah. Hey, you see my boys right here, these running backs over there, man. I seen them running backs, with Gordon and those guys, man. I think they're poised to have a great year as a committee at running back. And to me, it was always about committee because everybody knew TD, the Hall of Famer.
Yes.
But they forgot about Vaughn. They forgot about D-Love.
Yes.
We had some running backs by committee that they were so excited to get in. I think it was the playoff game against Miami. We had 2 running backs rush for over 100 yards. We had almost 300 yards rushing. I think Vaughn and D-Love both had like 80. I think one of them might have had 100 and one of them had like another 80 yards rushing. TD had like 160. He already out of the game in the third quarter. So
yeah, you see Melvin Gordon there in his 8th year, Mike Boone his 5th year, Javante, Demarie Crockett, and Tyreek McAllister, the rookie. Man, that's
stable. I'm telling you.
Yes.
And with Javante leading, I believe, I don't know, but that kid, man, every time he touched the football, it was some positive things happening on our side, and I believe, like I was saying, the offensive coordinator, whether he called the plays or not, I guarantee he makes sure this kid touch football.
Yeah, we got playmakers. They got playmakers.
Man, he had an amazing year last year for a rookie. I hadn't seen something like that. Of course, I was here with TD was a rook, but for him to run the way he run as a backup, you got to remember he was a backup in the offense they had last year, and I don't think he touched the football enough.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it was just he was a backup just in terms of on the roster.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
He was definitely one of the starting. I think it'll be that way this year to where he'll be the first guy on the field, but they'll have similar carries.
Yeah. Gordon earned the right too. I mean, he had a good year, and he's 8 years in the league. And he's done some good things. He can home run hit you too as well.
He can go to distance.
Yeah, he can go to distance on you. So I just like the makeup of the backs. I think is going to really give us the great 2-3 yards downhill, man, on runs. We can play action anybody. We got the mobile quarterbacks for it. We got great tight ends with good speed. And on the outside with receiver, the hardest part going to be for a receiver, I can tell you this right now, is keeping them. Which ones are you going to keep? That's going to be hard.
Who you
going to pick? Yeah, who you going to pick?
Okay.
You got about 7 guys that can play, but we ain't keeping 7.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a tough call for the coaches, but I can tell you they're going to pick the right ones. I mean, it's going to be, but that's what you want. You want that type of competition.
Yeah, you got to have competition in training camp. Otherwise, what's the use of having training camp? You bring in guys who they show some potential or they've had decent years in the past, and you see if they can compete. See if they've stepped it up to another level.
Yeah, no, and you know what? I like what you said. They're stepping up another level. Cortland Sutton got stepping up another level. He's the leader of that group. Tim Patrick had an amazing season last year, but here's the thing: do you have another gear? Here's the thing. In this business, you have to have another gear.
Got to.
You got to be progressing. You can't be stagnant. You can't be flat. Injuries sometimes can slow guys down, but I think they got enough weapons at these key positions that guys can stay fresher late in the season when we really gonna need them. Yeah. Get out of that break. There you go, Tim. I see a little head nod, a little burst upfield. That's what I need to see. You got to finish every play.
Has there been any receiver who's gotten faster as he's gotten older?
I don't know if you get faster. Here's the thing: you get smarter. You definitely get smarter.
So it seems like you're faster.
You're more efficient.
That's right.
I was slower, but I caught more deep balls because I set up the plays throughout the day, and you lull them to sleep with those intermediate passes and things that you mentioned. We had a great 5-step game, and see, this is where I think is going to make this offense so much better. The 5-step game is the routes between 10 and 14 yards, right? And so we got guys with the quickness to run those 10 to 14-yard routes very well. And now you run double moves off of that. You run the 5-step for the quarterback, go routes off of that. So they run up on the guy. They're used to them breaking down that 12. He just run right by him.
Right.
And so I think we got the speed, we got the guys, we got the personnel for it. Now we just got to put the game plans together.
All right, well, let me go back to what we were talking about just a second ago, just in terms of you getting smarter as your career went on. Now, did you get smarter, you think, because of the older guys in the room, they helped and taught you, or was it just from your experience? You just learned, I can do things a little bit more efficiently.
It was both. When you're a young guy and you got vets in front of you, I used to even when I came back after I retired, and I would go in the receiver rooms, and when DT and them was out here, him and Emmanuel Sanders and those guys were out here, what I would do, I would tell the young guys, say, look, pay attention. Quit back here talking. What is the play? What is the play when you're not in? You got to take those mental reps, right? So I learned a lot from those. And then as I got older, I said, okay, I can do this same route, but here's how I can be more efficient. So experience let me be more efficient. Because when you're young, you just running. You're just violent. You're hitting the ground. And you realize it hurt after the game. And as you get to year 3, 4, 5, that falling and hitting the ground takes a toll.
Yeah.
So I got, okay, let me be more efficient. Let me not be on the ground as much. Let me make sure I can still get the results. They still can't stop me from doing what I want to do. But you just know how to be better with your body.
Yeah, Jalen Virgil caught a nice pass there. Now, these wide receivers today, the game has changed a little bit, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do they have any fears?
Well, they ain't got to worry about a guy like you hit him in the face.
Not just me,
John Lynch. I'm just racing off when I played. But no, the thing for them, they do have some fears because you still got to compete. Guys still going to get a chance to break on plays. You still got to have body position. You got to have control. You got to be able to catch balls in small windows. You know what I'm saying? The good thing is, you know, they at the end of my era was when they had the 5-yard jam rule where the guy had to let you go at 5.
Right.
See, this is their whole career.
Yeah.
We didn't have that. So they can, if you can be violent for those first 5 yards, it gives you an advantage, but you got to learn how to use that. You got to learn how to use that to your advantage. I just think
you wish you would have played your whole career with that rule?
Absolutely. Dude, you walk off the bus and James Hasty, Dale Carter, Terry McDaniel, Eric Allen, Aeneas Williams. I mean, I can start from Deion Sanders, and you just start naming all the Hall of Famers. Charles Woodson, Rod Woodson. I can just start naming all the ones in the Hall of Fame that I played against. When you walk off the bus, they bump and run the whole time, and they can hold you till the ball's in the air, right? So that's some violence that I had to learn to overcome, and I honestly think it made me a better player when they switched the rules.
Yeah. Well, this was awesome, Rod, man. Hey, I always appreciate your wisdom, your knowledge of the game, and your love of the game as well.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you guys having me come out, especially it's nice and cool today. So hopefully we get better. I think, let me just say, I think we're wrapping up, but I think defense won yesterday. I was here yesterday, and it looked like defense was making more plays. So offensively, I know you guys ain't gonna see this till after the fact, but y'all got to get better. we got to get better today. So I'm gonna predict that the offense is gonna hype this crowd up a lot more today. I think we're gonna see some touchdowns, some throws, even some good runs today.
Okay. Also, I like to spotlight our friends in the community corner today, the kids of the Denver Broncos Boys and Girls Club.
Absolutely.
Justin Simmons is heavily involved in the Boys and Girls Club of Metro Denver and invited them out today for today's practice. Thanks for coming out, guys. Now let's check in with Alexis, who has more on the Broncos London raffle.
Thanks, Steve. Yesterday, the Denver Broncos and Denver Broncos Charities announced the London Raffle. This is an amazing opportunity to win a 5-night stay in London for the Broncos' Week 8 matchup at Wembley Stadium against the Jacksonville Jaguars. First-class round-trip tickets for 2, a behind-the-scenes experience at Broncos practice and on game day, and so much more. This trip is valued at over $22,000, and all you have to do is go to broncosraffle.com. Check out the prices for this, too. Very reasonable. 1 ticket for $50, 3 for $100, 8 for $200, and 25 tickets for just $500. All the proceeds from this raffle will benefit Denver Broncos Charities. Just head to broncosraffle.com. You must be 18 or older and in Colorado to play. Well, Steve, as we wrap things up here on Broncos Training Camp 2022, your observations for the day. You know, I have to kind of play off of what Rod Smith was saying earlier. He said day 2 offense is going to come out. They are going to win the day. As a defensive guy, I'm not sure that you'll agree with him on that.
It's all up to interpretation.
Yes.
And for me, I think I see the game through a defensive-minded person's eyes. So it looked pretty evenly matched there. You know, the offense, they definitely made a few plays, but the defense made some plays as well. Justin Simmons had a nice pass breakup down here in the back. Albert Okwuegbunam had a nice catch, and Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy, Tim Patrick, they've all had catches throughout the day. So it's really hard to say who actually won the day.
Well, Russell Wilson, he had 4 completions there in that initial team period to start things off, including a 30-yard bomb to Jerry Jeudy. You know, we've talked a little bit about Jerry Jeudy and his preparation heading into this training camp. Is it clear that that is on display just 2 days in?
Well, it's definitely on display. I think it's a concerted effort to get the ball in Jerry Jeudy's hands. You know, Jerry hasn't really been able to show what he can do. He's had some injuries, and I don't think he was utilized as well as everyone felt that he could be utilized the last couple of years. And now for them to make a definite effort to get the ball to him, I think it's going to pay big dividends.
Eric Saubert, wide open seam route, possibly a touchdown. I think he's going to consider it a touchdown given the fact that he dunked there at the end of it. But maybe a tackle there. But all in all, what are your impressions of how Coach Hackett is really utilizing these tight ends right now?
I really like it because when tight ends are able to catch balls on the run, right down the seam, it's very difficult to stop them. And, you know, many times defensive backs don't want to tackle them because they're undersized. The defensive back, the safeties and corners, they're a little bit undersized to go up and hit those big guys. So I really love how Coach Hackett is utilizing the tight ends in the seams, on the edges, just getting the ball in their hands and letting those athletic guys do what they can do.
Like I mentioned earlier, this was a light practice, guys just in padded shirts. So the physicality quite, not there yet. But overall, your final thoughts, final observations as day 2 wraps up here.
Well, the team looked crisp. They looked like they're on the same page. We saw a couple of mishaps. I saw a play where the running back was running the ball and he and Jerry Jeudy collided. I'm not sure who was in the wrong there, but we know that's not how the play was supposed to go. But overall, very clean practice, very crisp. The guys are upbeat. And a lot of completed passes, a lot of playmaking, a lot of enthusiasm.
Yes, the enthusiasm is through the roof. That is for sure. Steve, great job today with Rod Smith. You guys are obviously outstanding per usual.
Oh, thank you. We had a wonderful time. It's always good to get his point of view, offensive player, and I always learn something too.
I just wish you guys could have heard some of the conversations that were happening on this stage once the cameras were off there during team periods. As always, very entertaining stuff. Steve, thank you so much. And everyone, since you all found this show, you already know that we are here capturing all of this training camp content for you each and every day. You guys can find Broncos Training Camp with Steve Atwater at 3:30 Mountain Time on the Broncos YouTube channel, denverbroncos.com, and the Broncos 365 app each and every day of camp. Now that is all the time we have for this edition of Broncos Training Camp 2022 with the legend himself, Steve Atwater. For the Hall of Famer Rod Smith, James Palmer, and everyone working behind the scenes, I'm Alexis Perry. We thank you all so much for watching, and we really hope you will join us tomorrow as former Broncos defensive end and Super Bowl 50 champion Derek Wolfe will be on the stage with Steve Atwater. We will see you then.